Hey guys, I am back with another video. I'm Sierra, and today I just wanted to, well, I don't really have any Bible verses for today, but this is more of an encouraging message to everybody going through this. But I want to encourage all of you who might be going through a time where your faith is crumbling under your feet, or it seems to be wavering, or just it seems to be fleeting and just giving way after all the time that you've spent trying to nurture it and just make it the most structural foundation that you want it to be so you can stand on it and not have any fear that it will crumble under you. But if you feel like that today, if your faith is starting to break down and you're starting to feel distant from God, I want to tell you that even though your faith might be wavering, God's love is unwavering. It is not fleeting. It is always stable in you, for you. He is never against you. He always loves you no matter what. Even though we can't see Him, and even though we can't hear Him, we just gotta go back to the source, the Bible, and we can read for ourselves that His love is true and He is always working no matter if we feel it or not. And when we feel alone, we just need to really, okay, so we should take time to pray if we feel alone. Because during prayer time, when it's quiet and you're just focusing on God, or if you can't really focus on prayer like me, sometimes it's kind of hard to pray and stay on subject of what you want to talk to God about. You can always journal. That's what I do. That way, when I'm writing, it keeps me on track for exactly what I'm writing, and at the end of what I'm writing, I just say, in Jesus' name, amen. And if it works for you, that's great. It's whatever works for you. But yes, God is with us no matter what. Whether we feel like He's there or if we stopped believing He's there, He is still there. And the way I know is because the Bible says so. It's a piece of history that will never change. It's a piece of history that is actually, it may look like a big book, and it may look like it's just a bunch of rules and stories and saying stuff like don't do this and don't do that. But really, it's a love letter from God because there are so many promises in there that He has still kept to this day. Actually, there is one that we see after it rains. After it rains, do you know what comes up? A rainbow. And in the Bible, it says that a rainbow is a symbol of God's promise that He won't flood the earth ever again like He did with Noah and the ark. And that is just one of the promises that we can actually see. And it's not just things like that. If our faith is wavering and it's because we haven't seen or felt things, that means we're relying on our senses and we're relying on earthly things to fulfill us and to strengthen our faith again. But really, we got to stop that. We got to stop. I've done the same thing. Somehow along the way, my faith started to crumble too. Even though I was reading my devotional, I prayed to God every day, I still did the routine, and it's like somehow something started to feel different. And if you're feeling like this too, you're really not alone. It happens to probably every single Christian on earth, every single person that believes in something, their faith probably gets tested at least once in their life. But that's not what matters. What matters is how we deal with it and how we come out of it stronger. If we come out of it stronger, then we are proving to God that we are strong in Him, through Him, that we are channeling our courage and our faithfulness from Him. Because without God, we can't do anything. We can't do anything but just crumble and fail. Because this world is all earthly things, and all earthly things break. All earthly things wear down. They never exist forever. And that's why we can't see God, because He does exist forever, and He's not of this earth. Even we aren't of this earth. We may be in this earth, but we are not of the earth. We are children of God. And as children of God, our physical bodies may die someday, but our spirits will live with Him. And if that's not something that is exciting, then I don't know what else is, because all of this earthly stuff, it's all going to go away. Even when we get new stuff on earth, like we had Christmas a couple days ago. Even those gifts that we get, I don't mean to be a bummer, but the excitement from those gifts are inevitably going to wear off. And those gifts are going to break, or we're going to lose them, or other stuff like that, because we are in the earth. And we just got to remember that God is not of the earth, so we can't see Him, but we can still tap into Him, and we can feel His love if we really, really try to. And there are times where we may not even be trying to feel His love, but we just get a thought in our head, or we get this realization, and we just know it's from God. Because if you've ever experienced it, you will know. But if you haven't experienced it, you can tell that it's from God when it is just something that you've never had a breakthrough in before, that you've been trying by yourself for a long time, or you've just been trying to work something out by yourself, and then you finally pray to God, asking Him to help you, and then somehow, just like that, everything works out. It's things like that. When things seem like they work just in the nick of time, or you get saved from something that could have been really bad, or anything like that. Or even if you're going through something bad right now, and that's why you're losing faith, keep that faith. Because God puts us through situations so that we can come out stronger. There's actually a Bible verse on that. Perseverance builds faith, or something like that. I'll put it in the description for you, because my memory isn't as sharp as I want it to be right now. But anyways, that is the main reason I wanted to talk about this, was because bad times can really test our faith. And that's actually a test from God, these bad times. Even though He doesn't want anything bad to happen to us, they still do. But even though bad things happen, God's will is still done after everything that just seems to beat you down and like depress you or take stuff away from you that you enjoyed. Anything that just depletes your happiness and your joy, God doesn't want that for you. But still, even though it's happening to you, God has a way to make it work out and to have you gain a new sense of knowledge and a new perspective on things afterwards. Like when you go through a really bad situation and you're just like, why me, God? Like, why do you want this to happen to me? Why are you putting me through this? Like, when you're thinking stuff like that, you may be asking those questions, but when you do ask those questions, it's questioning God's ability and his authority and his power over situations in our lives, which we shouldn't be doing, because we may ask questions like those and expect to receive an answer, but God doesn't talk back. He does actions back. He shows us why we were going through those things, whether it be through someone telling us or encouraging us, or we just see events unfold in our situation where we're just like, wow, I really see why this happened now, and I'm so relieved that it did. And when we have those new perspectives on our experiences and our situations, that's when God is like, told you so. Because when we keep our faith in Him and we don't ask those questions, we're just saying, God, I know that this event is really tearing me down right now. And like, I'm really sad and I don't know what to do. But I will trust in you, God, and I just want your will to be done. That's the perfect thing to say. Just letting his will be done. You can even tell him how you feel in the situation. He won't be offended that you're sad that these things are happening, because Jesus came to earth and he knows how things can affect humans because he was a human. He felt sadness, he felt betrayal, he even felt pain and heartbreak even. He wept over the country of Israel because of how distraught the circumstance was, where all the people were just rebelling and not listening. But anyway, God knows what we feel like. And so he's not offended. He doesn't just expect us to go through all of these situations like joyful and happy, because he created sadness for a reason. And because sadness in turn creates it creates perseverance. When we keep persevering through things and we feel through these emotions like sadness, depression, or loss, or grief, it's for a reason. And without these emotions, we wouldn't be able to move on from the situation we're going through. Because if we were just joyful and nothing affected us, then why would we need God to comfort us or to make us feel joyful? Because we would already be joyful all the time. But with these sad emotions, we should really lean on God and his power and authority over our situations so that we can have comfort and just realize that this is out of my hands. It's in God's hands now. I can feel all the emotions I want because God is accepting of me and he loves me as his child. But I'm not going to try to control the situation anymore because God is in control and I'm going to trust him. That's the kind of attitude we need to have. It may be hard to have in every situation, and that's okay. It's hard to do a lot of stuff as a human, as we are all humans. It is hard to do a lot of stuff, especially when it comes to having like a certain outlook or a certain attitude on new situations we haven't been in before. But that's why it's important to look to God as a reference of how we should act, because He truly is love, He's forgiveness, and He is faithful to us. And He hasn't and will never break any of His promises. And if you're wondering the aspects of what Jesus had, I will tell you right now. They are called the fruits of the Spirit. It is from Galatians 5:22. The fruits of the Spirit are love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. Let me read that again. Love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. Jesus lacked none of those things. And even though it may be hard for us to keep all of those things every single day, it's okay, because we are not God. We cannot compare ourselves to God, and we can really try our best to have all of those fruits of the Spirit, and we should really make it a habit to grow those fruits of the Spirit in us, in our character, so that we can grow others in their character and be kind of a role model of how Jesus is too. But we can never be exactly like Jesus. And so it's okay if our faith wavers, or if we feel it sometimes give way, and we just feel tempted to try to fulfill it somehow. But really, it's okay. We just have to try and fill it with God's word and the promises that He has for us, because no earthly thing can fulfill us. It can give us joy, it can be entertainment to us, or we can just feel some sense of joy from the earthly things. But from Jesus, we will feel true fulfillment. And because He is the one thing in this universe, the one God in this universe, that is truly the most loving, the Prince of Peace. Let me say this. Unlike earthly things, Jesus offers us attributes that we want to find on this earth, but we can't. We want to find true faithfulness. We want to find someone who never breaks their promises. And as many promises as people make, we don't always keep our promises. It may be because of a circumstance, or because we just know we can't keep those promises, so we shouldn't be making those promises. But either way, at some point, somebody is going to let you down. They don't have the love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control that Jesus has. Nobody on earth has what He has. So when we look for all of those things in other people, maybe a soulmate or a friend, or just anybody we can trust in, we should look to God first. And because He really is the only one who provides all of those things unwaveringly and without hesitation. He does it with complete and full compassion for us. And He forgives us no matter what. He loves us unconditionally. and He's going to save us because we believe in Him. He doesn't give us a checklist of things to do every day so that we can be saved. He just wants us to believe in Him. And when we believe in Him, there is a sort of joy that we feel when we truly believe that there is a God out there who loves us no matter what and would do anything for us and for our joy, for our peace. And that's just what I wanted to say today. If your faith is a little shaky, it's okay. Something that just really helps is to remember that even though we can't obtain relationships like we can with God, it doesn't mean that there isn't a relationship like that exists. Just because we can't see it, we can feel it. Because God is the only one who can give us a relationship with Him that is unbreakable, that is just like, He will never forsake us or leave us. Like, every single person on earth leaves somebody for some reason. But God, no matter what, will not leave us. Even though we feel like He's gone, we don't feel His presence, He is still right there with us, with you. And I just wanted to remind you of that today, because sometimes I forget that too. But yes, I really hope that you guys enjoyed this video today. And as encouragement, I'm going to pray for everybody that if you're not feeling God's presence right now, that you would feel His presence sooner or later at just the right timing, like He always comes in at the right timing. And I just pray for everybody's faith to be on rock solid ground, because that is what God is. He is rock solid. He, as I said before, He will never leave us, never forsake us. And He is the only God that has all of those fruits of the Spirit that we long for here on earth. So we got to look to Him to fulfill our souls and our needs and our wants, our desires for those attributes that we want to find in other people. We got to look to Him first. And that's why we got to put Him first. We got to try our best. When we have a decision of focusing on God or doing this before we focus on God, we got to put God first. And then we can focus and have all the time in the world on what we want to do next. But really, to build our relationship and our faith with God, we got to show Him that we want to put Him first, because He is our greatest investment. And because He is the God of all creation, the God who made us. And He put all of His time and all of His thought into making you, into making your personality, your family, your friends, everything that's happened in your life. He has strategically placed it along your path so that it can work out for you like you can't even think of. Like, He is the God of creation. He knows what's going to happen in the future, what you're going to choose to do, who you're going to choose to marry, who you're going to choose to be friends with, when you're going to leave home, if you're going to leave home, what you're going to do, how you're going to live, where you're going to work. He knows every single thing. And so that's why He puts all of these things in your path. And sometimes the devil puts things in your path. But God knows how to move around those things. And He knows how to make it all work out for your good. Because He is the God of strategy. He is a God of wisdom. And if he wasn't a God of those things, why would we worship him? Because if he wasn't a God of wisdom and like forgiveness, strategy, then what would he be able to do? How would he be able to make his will come out in the end, where we can truly see his glory shine, and where we can see ourselves be in good places by the end of our lives and not suffering? And if his will truly didn't come out in the end, then that means that he's not a powerful God. He's not God at all. But he is God. He is a powerful God because his will has come out in the end. Millions and billions of people around the world know about him, even 2,000 years ago. After all of that time, there's still the Bible that we can read freely. And in some countries, they can't read it freely, but there are still outlets and places where they can still try to express their religion. And even though we really need to pray for those countries because of their restriction on expressing their religion, God's will has still risen up to the top, because without his will, we wouldn't have known about him after all these thousands of years. We would have not had the Bible. We would have all been doomed for hell, because his will is for us to be saved, for us to know about him, and for us to give him glory. And to give him glory, we got to know who he truly is, and we got to put all of our trust and our faith and our love into him. And so today, guys, if you are losing your faith, you got to try and remember who God is. And something you can do is you can look at your family and your friends, and you can just know that God made them. He put them in your life for a reason, and even where you're living, he put you there for a reason. He put you there to make a change, to maybe even break a generational curse. If that's what's happening in your family, then maybe you're there for that reason. I don't know. But if it's God's will, you just got to pray and say, God, let your will be done, and it will happen. But guys, that is all today. I rambled on a lot, I know. But thank you so much for watching. I appreciate all of the support and your comments and your likes. And I just really hope my message didn't trail off too much and it made sense. Please let me know what you thought, and I hope you all had a great Christmas. I hope you got to spend it with your family and friends and joyfully remembering Jesus. And but yeah, guys, that's it. I will see you in the next video. Bye.